I was just so taken with the heroic efforts of Melania and Donald Trump put into the equivalent of a foxhole under fire with an escalator that stopped, and showing their courage, fortitude, and just all round performance by walking up an escalator. Wow. I mean, when you see leadership like that, a Nobel Peace Prize can't be far behind.
Yeah, I have to say I was moved almost to tears.
Mm-hmm.
Melania handled the sudden jolt, and as Trump said to the entire world, because they needed to know, if she had not been in such great shape, would not have would not have been possible. I don't know about you, but to have the ability, the quick thinking, to realize that a broken escalator is the same as a staircase. That's thinking outside the box, Norm.
Not very many people would make that leap. It's true. Uh,
It's absolutely right, and we're fortunate to
I think
be.
it's talent like that that got her the H-1B visa in the first place.
Well, they call it an Einstein visa, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very clear that she earned that. No comment. That's the end of that's as far
That's
as we're going
enough.
to go
Yeah.
down that particular alley. Let me turn to a couple other things because I'm sure everybody's interested in your take on what's going on with this government shutdown, which is now taking a new twist, according to Politico last night, which is that the Office of Management and Budget has sent out a memo saying, "Hey, if we shut down the government, let's fire a bunch of people." They've proven to be really bad at firing people over the course of the past 8 months, and have had to hire back a lot of the ones they fired, and so it seems like a crazy idea, but it could just be a negotiating ploy trying to add pressure to the Democrats. Um, I don't know what the Democrats are doing. There was going to be a meeting this week with the president, then there wasn't going to be a meeting this week with the president. But you were the Congress whisperer. You must be talking to people. You must know exactly what's going on. And so I thought you should share it with our audience.
So, in some ways, when Russell Vought says, as he has, we're going to, basically permanently fire huge numbers of federal employees, my reaction to that was, okay, so you are now owning the shutdown. You are saying, bring on a shutdown so we can do what we've always wanted to do, which is, in effect, eliminate the federal government. And if I were a Democrat in Congress, I would actually look at that and say, any of these fears that it will come back to haunt us, that we will get blamed for the shutdown, no longer exist. My second reaction to that was they've been firing people willy-nilly all along. They have not bothered with the niceties or the technicalities that we need a shutdown to do this. So in so many respects, it's an empty threat. And as you alluded to, David, if they did go forward and fire hundreds of thousands, maybe even a million of the 2 million in the federal workforce, um, it would not take very long before they were using even more taxpayer money to hire them back and beg them to come back. And the disruptions to the society, including Trump voters, would be considerable. So there's that. What I know is that when I communicated with some Democrats in the Senate in March and said, this is an authoritarian regime in the making. We need to use every tool at our disposal, and that includes not allowing them to get away with stiffing Democrats and doing their own outrageous spending policies. Tell them if they go ahead and do that, you're not going to give them the votes for it. Many of those senators were very upset with me. Some of them have now said that was March, this is now. There's a different attitude. And that different attitude is much more, we've got reasonable demands, and Trump's saying they're unreasonable because they want to protect health care for Americans and because they want to stop these illegal pocket rescissions. Uh, and they want to restore some of the funding for Medicaid that's been taken away. Um, go ahead, make my day if you're not willing to go along with those modest and necessary demands. Having said that, I also know these characters enough to know that as we get to the 11th hour plus and are close to a shutdown, some of them are going to want to blink. And then the question becomes, will Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, but mostly Chuck Schumer, uh, blink as well? My guess is we're going to see, I think it's possible that Senate Republicans uh, will go to some of their Democratic counterparts and say, look, we've been away for the Jewish holidays. We're not going to be back. There's no time to do this. Give us a month of a continuing resolution and we will work out a deal with you. We might see this punted for a few weeks, but I will be surprised at this point, and I have to say disappointed if we don't get a shutdown. Disappointed not because I want mayhem or dislocation or disruption for Americans, including you and me, but a whole lot of others who'd be hurt far worse, but because caving now is not going to solve anything other than to make them understand even more that they can rape you, they can murder you, and get away with it because when they're doing something utterly unreasonable, you blink.
Yeah, but are they ever likely to give in to the Democrats' demands? First of all, you described those very well, and just made me think once again that you should be at least the Speaker of the House. But I have to say, um, the Democrats aren't making their case. This is kind of like the moments before. Shouldn't they be out there going, these guys are screwing you over. They're taking away your health care, and we're going to stand up and we're going to get that health care coverage back for you. Because, by the way, I was listening to, I don't know, Morning Joe or some kind of thing, and they had a member of Congress on. They were saying the cuts to Medicaid are already starting to be felt. Hospitals are already cutting back services. People are already losing service. It's not just that 11 million people are going to be kicked off in 14 months. Already, lots of different things are being cut in Medicaid, and the knock-on effect for the healthcare system as a whole, for the cost of healthcare, it's starting to go out there and be felt by everybody. Not only is this an opportunity for the Democrats to do the right thing on behalf of the American people, but it's a moment where it's going to resonate with the American people. And yet, all I hear from them is a kind of gentle purring noise.
This has been a recurring theme on our show. I have for so long wanted Democrats in Congress to set up a message operation that could actually be functional. Have a team that gets together every night to set out a unified message the next day and have one for the week, or in this case, it should have been for the month, laying out why they are making a reasonable set of demands to protect Americans from mayhem, and why, if Republicans do not go along and reach a bipartisan agreement, the shutdown is because of their actions, not ours. And if you let this go until the last minute and then try and go out there and defend what you've done, given the expansive and expanding right wing media machine, uh, you're going to end up the ones who cave and meekly say, after a few weeks of disruption, okay, you go ahead, you get what you need or want. Uh, if you get that message out there, you're on a much stronger footing for having Republicans decide that it's not in their interest to shut down the government. And failing to do that is stupid. And uh, this is a broader problem. They have no unified message about anything. It's fragmented, and the Steve Bannon strategy of flooding the zone with story after story, distraction after distraction, scandal after scandal is working now. And it's not just because the press can't handle it and, basically still tries to normalize all of these outrages, but because congressional Democrats have not done what they could do in the minority.